Walk into almost any grocery store in the world, and you'll find a massive pile of dark, pebbly avocados. For the vast majority of consumers, the Hass avocado is the absolute default setting for everything from morning toast to weekend guacamole. But the Hass dominates the market because of its armor, not its flavor. That thick, bumpy skin acts like a shock absorber. You can pack thousands of them into shipping containers, send them bouncing across oceans in the backs of trucks, and they survive the trip. A fruit engineered to survive a brutal global supply chain is optimizing for shelf life. That does not mean it is optimized for the specific texture you want on your plate, or the specific nutritional targets you need to hit for the day. When you treat every avocado like it is built for every meal, you run into immediate problems. You end up with guacamole that separates into a watery mess. You get mushy, disintegrated chunks in your salad. Or if you track your macros, you might accidentally blow past your daily fat limit because you assumed a giant avocado had the exact same calorie density as a small one. Treating all avocados as functionally identical guarantees a suboptimal result in the kitchen. To get the exact texture and dietary profile you want, we have to look past the default option. Every avocado sits somewhere on a specific botanical spectrum. The defining metric that dictates how an avocado will perform, both in your bowl and in your body, is its ratio of oil to water. This data matrix compares the nutritional payload of a standard Hass against a massive Florida Choquette. Notice the data split. The Hass sits at around 20% fat by weight. The Choquette drops down closer to 10%, replacing that missing fat with a significantly higher water volume. That single trade-off dictates everything. High oil content equals high caloric density. In the kitchen, that heady oil payload is exactly what allows the flesh to emulsify smoothly into rich, creamy dips and spreads. Conversely, the high moisture content of the Choquette creates strong structural firmness. Because water has 0 calories, this side of the spectrum allows you to eat a physically larger volume of food for a fraction of the caloric cost. Once you understand that one variety is basically a block of dense, creamy butter, while another is a firm, watery vegetable, a one-size-fits-all approach to cooking with them becomes obsolete. The rule moving forward is simple. Every time you buy an avocado, you must intentionally prioritize either firm structural integrity or creamy fat content, based entirely on the goal of your meal. To make that choice practical, we need a systematic way to evaluate global varieties by their functional utility, rather than just grabbing whatever brand name is on sale. This is the Avocado Utility Matrix. Let's start with the extreme top left quadrant. High oil and low firmness. This is where the Hass lives, alongside varieties like the Fuerte and the Gwen. These are your natural emulsifiers. They deliver a rich, intensely nutty flavor profile, and their flesh breaks down with almost 0 effort. If you are mashing guacamole or whipping up a heavy spread, this quadrant guarantees perfect, buttery textures. But there is a heavy cost. They are calorie bombs, making them a serious hazard if you are strictly tracking macros. And from a culinary standpoint, their structural integrity fails immediately. If you toss them into a dense, complex salad, they will disintegrate into mush. Now look at the exact opposite end of the matrix, the low oil, high firmness quadrant. These are the tropical giants, varieties like the Choquette, Lula, and Hall. Because they are packed with water rather than oil, you can eat a massive portion, often an entire giant avocado, while consuming significantly fewer calories and grams of fat per 100 grams of flesh. In the kitchen, that high water content translates to structural strength. They slice beautifully, holding a clean, geometric shape for sandwiches or precise high-end pleating. The downside is severe. If you attempt to make traditional guacamole with a tropical giant, the high moisture will cause it to separate and turn into a watery soup. Furthermore, their flavor is incredibly mild, which many avocado purists find completely unacceptable. Tropical giants are the ultimate high-volume dietary hack for fitness trackers, but they are a total liability if you need a reliable dip. Outside of those extremes, we find specialized regional varieties that don't fit the standard supermarket profile, starting with cold-hardy, thin-skinned hybrids like the bacon and the Zutano. Looking back at our matrix, these thin-skinned hybrids sit right in the middle ground: moderate oil, moderate firmness. This middle-of-the-road profile gives them a lighter, exceptionally clean taste. They are perfect when you need a subtle avocado presence that won't overpower delicate ingredients like raw seafood or a light citrus vinaigrette. The friction here is mostly logistical. Their paper-thin skin makes them notoriously frustrating to peel cleanly, and they possess a very short shelf life before they oxidize and spoil. Finally, we move up to the most highly sought-after category: premium heirlooms, featuring late-season varieties like the Reed and the Pinkerton. They occupy the optimal quadrant: high oil and high firmness. This combination makes them a culinary unicorn. They possess the structural integrity to yield massive, firm slices for beautiful presentation, while simultaneously delivering a robust, complex flavor profile that works flawlessly in any application. Slicing one open reveals immense physical yield. You get a massive, thick wall of premium flesh wrapped around an unusually tiny pit. But accessing that yield comes with highly restrictive trade-offs. They require significant financial investment. They are only available during very narrow seasonal windows, and they demand specialized sourcing outside of standard grocery chains. While heirlooms offer the absolute pinnacle of avocado utility, they are strictly reserved for cooks willing to invest premium money and time into their ingredients. Understanding botanical data is only useful if it actually changes how you shop. It is time to apply this data directly to your personal grocery cart and lifestyle. This scorecard is your avocado buying blueprint. It provides a practical decision-making framework mapped strictly to 3 distinct consumer profiles. If you are the macro tracker or a high-volume eater, your priority is mechanical satisfaction. You need to source the Choquette or Lula to achieve maximum volume, and you must strictly avoid the calorically dense Hass. If you are the dip and spread purist, your non-negotiable metric is proper emulsification. Stick exclusively to the Fuerte or the Hass for their high oil content, and avoid large, smooth-skinned tropicals at all costs. If you are the culinary optimizer or texture chef, invest the time to hunt down a Reed or Pinkerton during their brief season. They provide perfect plating structure without sacrificing rich, nutty flavor. Consumers must stop buying avocados out of pure grocery store habit. You have to match the fruit's specific oil-to-water ratio to the exact mechanical demands of your meal. Expanding your avocado vocabulary requires very little effort, but the return is massive. It is a simple optimization that instantly upgrades both your culinary excellence and your dietary control.